you tuned in for the perfect time where I will react to my Worlds matches. I'm not just reacting, I will analyze them, but this is the current ranking. That being said, let's go.
Let's dive a little bit deeper though on
Like, it's so funny looking back at this and just seeing this small achievement list.
history. It's very short, but it's very sweet because it ends with a World Finals appearance, top 8.
How sick would it have been if I just won this?
Top 64. So just the three.
Like, when I could have really proven that new players are just capable of doing stuff.
Have been really impressive considering these accomplishments, right? Where I haven't had a lot of chances to be in these top positions.
Yeah, it will impact the meta game. That is correct, Com. But it's still interesting to think about if it is like a player who we should know or not. Yeah, this was my team, and honestly, the team was not that good. I just it was interesting because people didn't know what Dragapult does. Thank you, Stewie, for the follow. People didn't know what Dragapult does, even though it won NAIC, which was the tournament before. But like my opponent, Zine, like national finalist, national top 4, world's top 32, NAIC top 16.
Going back quite a bit further, top 4 Japan nationals in this season.
What should I say?
Top 32 at Worlds last year, 2019.
I mean, Lasse, when did you join VGC?
And then in 2017 was a Japan national finalist. He's done so well in Japan, and I think.
Yeah, I'm like the Farici boy. And the first thing I can say about the set is that I hate myself. Like, I don't hate myself for that, but I'm lazy, okay? So what you need to understand is that, as some of you might know, my top 4 match was not streamed, right? And usually I stream all top 8, all top 4s. But we were running so late on schedule. Like, after my top 4 match against Fede Campo, it was already like 8 p.m. and then I had to do interviews and like we had to go backstage and we were not leaving before 10-11 p.m. and then I had to drive back to my hotel and it was like past midnight and all my friends were from like Tub. I remember Enosh Shahar, Nick Navar, Ari. Like they all told me you should prepare for the finals. Like I've never been in a day 3 before. Even like day 2 was something I was only in twice. So this whole day 3 kind of thing was like they said you have to prepare. Yeah, you can prep the matchup. We can play practice games. And I was like, nah, like that's unnecessary. I know what I'm doing. I did not know what I was doing at all. Like, I played against that same team multiple times during my Worlds run. I played against that team 4 times and I beat it 4 times. And you know what I brought? Heatran! And you know how good Heatran is? And I didn't bring it against Zine.
Something that a lot of players have been looking at as one of the teams they really need to have a good answer to. I think one Pokemon to keep in mind there is that Iron Hands could be a really critical Pokemon in this matchup and has looked really good on stream all weekend. Always seems to be the last Pokemon remaining.
Yeah, I have like a Heatran with fire moves. Even if Among Us goes Terra Grass, I have Terra Grass, Terra Blast. Heatran! Heatran, come home.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to see how it plays out. We saw a pretty bombastic semifinal match, or semifinal match.
Damn, Max, that's crazy.
Match where, Pokemon kind of
Also, damn, Lorenzo. Are you like, are you still fine with the team?
We've been seeing some pretty quick games when both players have that because the whole point.
Hi, David. But yeah, so going into this match, Shohei knows how to play in these day 3 kind of situations because he played Japan Nationals finals before. It's not quite the same, but I've been just there without any practice, and I don't know what was going inside of my head going in there saying, practice is for losers. Don't worry, chat. I've got this. But did you guys know? It's not one thing that many players did not know. But there was a Victory Road tournament where I finished top 8, right? Where I beat Wolf in Top Cut, where I beat Oliver Escolin in Top Cut, where I beat Matty Morgan in Swiss. I also beat Zine in Swiss. With Choice Band Dragapult. And this is something a lot of players actually did not know. But you need to understand that there are like more mind games to it because of that set. I remember like that I beat him by spamming Terra Ghost Phantom Force with Chiempo on the field. Like sort of when Terra Ghost Phantom Force was just so devastating for his team. And so I would skip to a game. So I decided to leave with Dragapult Farigiraf because it's good across the board. Unfortunately, I do not have Helping Hand. If I had Helping Hand, I could KO the Amoonguss here with Helping Hand Terra Blast, right? And I was Psychic, Foul Play... Wait, Psychic, Trick Room, Imprison... Wait, I was Helping Hand. Hold on. Wait. What? Wait. I was Dazzling Gleam. it was Gleam, yeah. The modest Farigiraf. Yeah, it was Dazzling Gleam. I was like, wait, I had no Foul Play, but I also had no Helping Hand. I had no Protect, but it was Gleam. Yeah, of course it was. Like, my best play here is probably, like, what do I lose clicking Psychic into Amoonguss plus Terra Ghost Phantom Force? It's just so free, right? But in my mind, I was like, okay, he will probably not click Protect with Amoonguss, and I made the calc beforehand that Dragon Darts into Psychic, since I'm modest Farigiraf, even if I only get one dart off into Amoonguss, I should KO it. And I don't think that he will use the Terra here. Thinking about it, like my Pokemon in the back are Rillaboom and Chiempao. What I can do is that I click U-turn plus Psychic, which would also KO the Amoonguss. And he could click Spore into my Pult. But I was so convinced that he would rather Spore the Farigiraf because I am not going to switch Farigiraf into Rillaboom. So if he spores a slot, it's good that be Farigiraf because in my mind, back then, I was like, I either U-turn into Rillaboom or I click Phantom Force. So he is not going to click Spore into my Dragapult, which means I can lock myself into Dragon Darts. And then next turn, like my plan was to click Dragon Darts Psychic and then switch to Chiempao and then have Dragon Darts with Sword of Ruin. So that was my original idea. I see the Terra, but that also confirms me that Rillaboom now is very good because Rillaboom can Woodhammer the Amoonguss, Rillaboom can Woodhammer the Urshifu. So my Rillaboom is very good. I go for Dragon Darts, which is just never the play. It's either like Phantom Force, U-turn, but Dragon Darts, not amazing. Honestly, not amazing because now he spoiled my Pult. Not good, but fine. I didn't Terra, so his team, like his Pokemon right now, cannot really hit my Dragapult. So what I can do now is that I either I click Psychic or I can switch to Rillaboom because the Urshifu also does not have close combat. It's Searching Strikes, Aqua Jet, Taunt, Detect. So what I can do is that I switch Farigiraf to Rillaboom because my Rillaboom also has a Citrus Berry. So it can take Searching Strikes and Palm Puff that well that even the next Searching Strikes does not KO me. And my Dragapult is also not friend and I can keep health on my Farigiraf for something like the Urshifu, for something like the Amoonguss. So Rillaboom switch, Dragon Darts is probably the best play here. I don't remember what I did in the end. That is funny, Maxime.
I think it's something that Shohei's going to have to be careful about, right? Potentially some powerful offensive Pokemon on the backside of the field. And Michael,
David probably like a week. But yeah, I think the best play is to just burn a sleep turn and switch to Rillaboom. I really hope that I do that. If I don't do that, I'm bad.
Now it's asleep, and it didn't really get much done in that first turn.
He switches
Shohei, though, is going to keep on being a revolving door
into
of Pokemon.
Flutter Mane.
Urshifu leaves just as quickly as it came in. He reveals his fourth and final.
As I go to Rillaboom.
Farigiraf will leave the field, not feeling like it needs to protect against something like the Sucker Punch. As Rillaboom comes in, that is going to be a bit of a problem for that Amoonguss down the line.
Now
it's a water type.
I can always Wood Hammer the Flutter Mane slot, but the question is, what do I do with Dragapult since he clicked spawn to Rillaboom? I think with Dragapult, like, what would you do here? Would you stay in and just click Dragon Darts, or would you switch into Chiempao and lose your Sash, or would you switch into Farigiraf maybe? But like, I know all his Pokemon. It's Shifu at 60%, Chiempao with Icicle Crash, Sucker Punch, Sacred Sword, and Protect, and the Amoonguss. So I think what I can also do is click Terra Ghost Dragon Darts, because if he clicks Shadow Ball into my Pult, it's not very likely that he does that, because I can switch Pult to Farigiraf. The other problem is if I go for Terra Ghost, I cannot Terra the Rillaboom into Chiempao anymore. So yeah, I'm like, at this point I was thinking, okay, I can still win this. He clicks Protect, so that even if I wake up, that I don't do anything. I stayed asleep. Doesn't matter at all. I was locked into Dragon Darts. As he KOs my Pult with Dazzling Gleam. And I was... thank you, David. I appreciate it, I guess. I get a crit on Flutter Mane, which didn't matter. Like, it did not matter at all. Like, I was adamant Rillaboom. As you can see here, 116 adamant Wood Hammer in grassy terrain. His Flutter Mane was not defensive, so it didn't matter. And now I can choose. Do I go to Farigiraf or do I go to Pau? But since my Pau can not really hit his Pau and my Farigiraf has actually Dazzling Gleam, I think it's always better to go Farigiraf here. Yeah, it was Protect Rilla. Like, seeing that, if somebody wants this, like Citrus Berry, Terra Poison, Stomping Tantrum, like a lot of very weird choices, right? But they all made sense. Like, I wanted to have another close combat resist, because the cool part was Rillaboom is a water resist, but I wanted to have a fighting resistant Terra, because as you can see, Chiempao, Heatran, Farigiraf, Urshifu, fighting is a little annoying for my team, so I was like either Terra Bug, Terra Fairy, Terra Poison, obviously not Terra Bug, you don't want to keep a fire weakness, so it was Terra Poison or Terra Fairy. In the end, I stick with Terra Poison because it also gives me a poison resistance into stuff like Glimora and yeah. Stomping Tantrum was mainly for Heatran. Yeah, Rilla without Glide. Yayo, probably not, but I will think about it. But yeah, so it's always the best play to go into Farigiraf here. The problem still is that my Rillaboom is threatened by an Icicle Crash. Since I'm modest Farigiraf, I also took KO Chiempao with Dazzling Gleam. That's another pretty cool thing. And now I have like Rillaboom Farigiraf on the field, as you can see. And he just protected Amoonguss. So I have a guaranteed KO on the Amoonguss slot if I go Terra Wood Hammer. And then I also get a single target Dazzling Gleam off into Chiempao, which is also big because that would put his Chiempao into range of my Chiempao. Yes, I would die to a recoil with Rillaboom if I would hammer the Amoonguss, but that's fine because then I have Pow Farigiraf against Pow Shifu, which I always win because I can Sucker Punch his Pow and Psychic his Shifu. Yeah, I actually did click Trick Room because I had a feeling that he would stay in with Amoonguss. In hindsight, clicking Dazzling Gleam is always better, I think, because if I KO over Amoonguss here, we get a double down, and then we have like Pow and Farigiraf against Pow and Shifu. Well, then I can just click Dazzling Gleam, Sucker Punch, I guess. Yeah, it's tricky. I should have clicked Dazzling Gleam. I clicked Trick Room, which is not the correct play. Thank you, Grape Juice, for follow. He goes for Icicle Crash and gets the flinch. At least I burn a sleep to her now since I clicked Trick Room.
Maybe just take out the Amoonguss, but not getting it done. What a huge momentum.
And now, like, I think I can click Woodhammer again because Sacred Sword does not knock out my Rillaboom, and he cannot click Sucker Punch because Farigiraf is on the field. At this point, I probably have to play for an Icicle Crash miss. So my best play here is to just click Woodhammer again and Dazzling Gleam.
If it wants to go for one of these big wood hammers to try and take the knockout, then it's just going to faint to the recoil. It's not able to stick around for multiple turns.
Yeah, it's almost worse that it's on the field now, right? Where kind of just sitting there waiting to be knocked out. We haven't seen that final Pokemon.
Take a look at Zine's cam during this turn. Like, I'm thinking that maybe if I get an early wake up, and I was like, what is going on? Like, I also asked the judge, like, I just saw, like, imagine the player in front of you just does this. Like, I thought he disconnected. Like, I thought he got a disconnect because he was waving like this, and he didn't disconnect. He clicked Sucker Punch instead. And he also clicks Pollen Puff, which did a lot of damage, and I don't know why he clicked Sucker Punch. I don't know if he like misclicked, but even like you have to click A on Sucker Punch, and then he also has to choose a target. It's not like Dazzling Gleam, for example, where if you click A, it's locked in. So yeah, the sad part is that if I get the Woodhammer off, as my Farigiraf would not take the Pollen Puff, so my Farigiraf would still be full life, and I would probably win the game because I just can click Crunch into the Urshifu plus Dazzling Gleam, as long as I don't get a 3-turn sleep. And the problem is I can still play for an Icicle Crash miss. Like, I don't know what I was trying to do now. Like, I can play for an Icicle Crash miss, but I switch Rilla, which makes that makes no sense. And he misses Icicle Crash, and that is frustrating to me because I did not gain anything. I don't have Sacred Sword on my power. I was Double Dark. I was Crunch, Sucker Punch, Icicle Crash, Protect. So my best play still is to go for the miss, Woodhammer the Amoonguss, and since I got a 2-turn wake up, as you can see now, I would get a single target Gleam on the POW, and I would actually win the game probably. No, Roberto does not. He gets a crit, and that crit is bad because without the crit, I would have been, like, my plan was that if he doesn't crit me here, I'm not in Icicle Crash range because I was max first death. I was not bold, but I was max first death. My thought was without Pollen Puff critting, I'm not in Icicle Crash range, which means next turn I have Crunch on the Amoonguss, like Adamant Crunch does a decent amount, plus Dazzling Gleam, or I can also Psychic the Amoonguss, double up on it, KO it, And then I still have Fake Out Rillaboom in the back to maybe buy me an extra turn. So if I click Crunch, Dazzling Gleam, let's say I knock out the POW and he tries to knock out my Farigiraf, doesn't get it. I can also crit the Crunch on Amoonguss or crit the Dazzling Gleam and probably KO the Amoonguss then, because I was Adamant POW. I think Adamant Crunch does a decent amount. That was the plan I was following here. But since he crit this Pollen Puff, I'm in a really, really, really bad position. He can just knock out my Farigiraf with Sacred Sword, so maybe I have to switch Farigiraf into Rillaboom and get an Icicle Crash Flinch on the Amoonguss. Maybe that is how I can still win. But yeah, this was not a good turn for me. I dodged Icicle Crash, which is good because now Sacred Sword doesn't pick up my POW. But yeah, what I clicked now was Crash into POW plus Dazzling Gleam. And he actually clicks Crash instead of Sacred Sword. And I was like, whoa, come on. Like, if I get a flinch here, I knock out the POW. And then he has Amoonguss Urshifu left. He puts my POW to sleep. He has to click Surging Strikes Pollen Puff, but he also has to knock out Farigiraf, kinda, so I think he actually puts my Farigiraf to sleep, but that means I win with a flinch the next turn, so yeah. And then at this point, I can just not cover Sucker Punch into Rillaboom plus Pollen Puff into POW, but he clicks Sacred Sword.
It's already looking pretty dicey. This could be one of the final turns in game one. Obviously,
even if I would hammer the Amoonguss here, I was just hoping that maybe he goes for Sacred Sword switch. Even then, I probably lose. But yeah, I don't know. No, I remember what I went for. I thought maybe he thinks that I'm going to fake out the POW, so he will switch POW to Urshifu. I can knock out Urshifu with Woodhammer. He will Pollen Puff my GM POW. We both survive, and then next turn I can wake up, I can Sucker Punch his POW and Woodhammer the Amoonguss. So I went for like a very weird play, which was not going to happen, but it was my only way to maybe win the game. And thank you, FWKY, for follow. Yeah, so this game one was like not amazing, but it was also not super terrible. And then game two. So game two starts a little crazy because I was like, okay, I can bait him. Yeah, I think restricteds are fine. And this is where things went horribly wrong because I got gaslit. I don't like. I'm so mad at this specific turn because I will show you something. My Dragapult was not adamant, right? It was Jolly, but I thought I can, like, I was told that the Amoonguss from Shohei is very, very, very physically defensive, okay? But I will show you something. Terra Blast with Terra Ghost, or Terra Dragon, doesn't matter, same damage, and Sword of Wind. Do you see this? 76 to 90. Okay? And Rapid Strike with, I was 156 adamant, but without Sword of Wind, 18 to 21. It's heavily in my favor. Like, I do 95% min, but I thought he was like max, and I brought Xianpao in the back. And my plan originally was to go for a very aggressive play. I was like, you can sucker punch my pult. I will lose the game. But you will not do it. I have Farigiraf. You know that I have it. You will not do it. So, since I thought, okay, U-turn Terra Blast is not in my favor, but I also thought that he would not switch the Qianpao, I lock in a move that makes pretty much no sense. Like, obviously, he don't want to stay with Qianpao because Qianpao also dies to Terra Water Surging Strikes. Like, what I can do is Terra Water Surging Strikes, U-turn into Willaboom, then I have Fake Out Surging Strikes, Fake Out Surging Strikes. So, what I click here is so bad. Like,
pretty terrifying. Urshifu starting off with the surging strikes into the Amoonguss, just getting down a little bit of damage. It's not going to be super effective, but I think just any damage...
I could also Phantom Force here, but again, I thought he would spore my Shifu slot. Why would you not spore my Shifu slot? I click Terra Blast.
See what it can do. It is Terra Blast being locked in. It is heading towards the Amoonguss. It was such a problem in game number 1. And Amoonguss...
CC would have also not done enough, and I didn't want to get the defense drops.
And it's all in from Michael on that turn. He wants to get rid of the Amoonguss, but he's just not able to as it fires back with a spore onto the Dragapult.
That was such a bad play for me. Like, if I go for something like this, I should have clicked U-turn Terra Blast. It's pretty interesting because U-turn Terra Blast would end the game immediately because then I have pulled power on the field. He cannot go to Flutter Main because my pult is faster, and then I just Terra Blast that slot. Like, I double up on it with Terra Blast Crunch. Even if he switches, it's fine. And you need to know what? You need to know, like, that Urshifu dies to sort of win Terra Blast as well. Yes, he can go to Pow, but I brought Farigiraf in the back, which means he has to go Pow. And next turn I can switch my Pow, my own Pow, into Pult, into Farigiraf, and just Terra Blast his Urshifu. I would KO it, even if he clicks Protect, Icicle Crash, I survive it, and next turn I can just click Terra Blast, Dazzling Gleam, and then I have Choice Scarf, Urshifu for Qianpao and Flutter Main. Like, if I just fought this through, I could have just won turn 1, but like Surging Strikes Terra Blast was just straight up terrible, especially because he can just spore my Urshifu slot now. I was just hoping that he maybe thinks that I brought Rillaboom again, so maybe he doesn't spore that slot. It's also not unlikely for me to bring Rillaboom. I mean, we saw how good it was in game 1. So that's why I switch pulled, because I know that Surging Strikes is heading into that slot. And I can switch to Farigiraf. And if he doesn't click Spore, I'm in a very, very, very good position right here. Because then next turn I can target down the Urshifu with Surging Strikes again, because he takes Helmet now, which means he has to click Rage Powder. And if he clicks Rage Powder, he cannot click Spore again. But if he doesn't click Rage Powder, I just Surging Strikes with Urshifu and I Psychic the Amoonguss. So, that was what I was going for. Unfortunately, though, as you can see here, he clicks Spore.
Well, the Spore heading towards the Urshifu this time. Shohei is just making sure he can keep...
I still have problems here. Now... I think what I have to do is to not let him knock out his own Urshifu. Yeah, the spectator mode was bugged. It was annoying. It was just so bad. The problem here is that he can Surging Strikes my Farigiraf, and if we get a double down, he just wins with Amoonguss plus Flutter Main board state. And he can also get Regenerator on Amoonguss by switching Amoonguss to Flutter Main right now. So, what I have to do is probably, like, my best play here is, like, it's so obvious what he does. my best play would be to switch out Farigiraf, toss Dragapult because he's Mystic Water and I'm Terra Ghost, he wouldn't knock out my Pult. I lose Dragapult, I burn a Sleep Turn on Urshifu, but then the good thing is, since I lose my Pult, he does not go down with Urshifu, which means I get my Chiempao in, and my Adamant Sucker Punch actually one-hit KOs his Flutter Mane. He was super frail on his Flutter Mane. Like, he was max speed timid. He had a lot of special attack investment. Adamant Sucker Punch probably KOs his Flutter Mane, which means I can also get a one-time wake up. So I can Sucker Punch Urshifu, Surging Strikes Flutter Mane, or I Sucker Punch Flutter Mane, Surging Strikes Urshifu. I would be in a not a good position, but in a decent position. But I stayed in with Farigiraf. And yeah, I don't know why I did that, honestly.
Urshifu will just remain asleep. It's still at full health, but it is definitely threatened. Urshifu will Surging Strikes once again into the Farigiraf, so it's going to make that trade, right? It's going to make sure that he gets the Farigiraf down. There's not going to be anything like a Trick Room or a Dazzling Gleam coming back in that way.
So now, what I have to do... Wait.
Trade in that one.
Well, I love the move, though. I mean, we're getting very close to a sweep from Team Japan here. We have 2 sleeping Pokemon.
I'm thinking, like, can I still win at this point? Obviously, I cannot go to Pult.
It's also going to have to work through this Amoonguss, which is back and looking.
Maybe I could have went, like, maybe I could have switched into Pult. Probably not, no.
Right now, maybe forced to try and work around that one a little bit more. Urshifu staying asleep.
Because if I lose Urshifu, I always lose to his Chiempao. Because if I lose Urshifu, I lose to Chiempao every time. But I can also not preserve the Urshifu at this point. Like, I'm pinned. Because if I don't have Urshifu, he can just Sucker Punch my Pult, and he also has Sacred Sword for my Pow, and my Pow cannot hit his Pow. So, what needs to happen? I have to hope that he doesn't click Rage Powder, because even if I switch to Dragapult and click Crunch, I would still lose the game to his Chiempao.
Spot now where it switched into battle. You got that healing from a generator. We haven't seen the terrestrialization committed on that side of the field yet, so you know, a Rage Powder could look pretty devastating here. Fluttermane can now just start like wailing away with Dazzling.
We also saw that we both were Adamant Chiempao because we were speed tying, and in this situation, my best play is probably, look, my best play, I had a winning line. I just did not see it in time. My winning line here, okay, chat, is protect Surging Strikes, get a 1-turn Wake Up, and get like 30% damage on Amoonguss with Sword of Wind Surging Strikes, which puts Amoonguss in crunch range, in Adamant crunch range. Then I go to Pult, and I burn 1 Sleep Turn. Wait. Does that work? Like, my plan was that I click Protect here, I burn 1 Sleep Turn, and then what I can do is that I KO over Amoonguss with Crunch. He brings my Pult to like 50% or like 30%, I don't know, and my Pow to the Sash. And then in the next turn, he has to respect that I Sucker Punch his Flutter Mane with my Chiempao and click Dragon Darts, which will KO his Chiempao. So he has to click Sucker Punch into my Pult. But if I lock myself into Sucker Punch with my Pult, let's say I click Sucker Punch, his Sucker Punch fails, I knock out the Flutter Mane and I get 1 Sucker Punch on the Pow. And then I can go for Sucker Punch Icicle Crash. He probably goes for Sacred Sword into my Pow, and maybe I win the speed and get a flinch. Or I go for Sucker Punch, which puts his Pow in range of 20%. And then it's Pow versus Pult, where I have to spam Sucker Punch, he has to spam Protect, and then if I struggle on the turn where he fails his Protect, I win the game.
Right here needs to try and find some of those knockouts, maybe make some big.
So I can still win the game here if I get a 1-turn Wake Up and click Protect. But I did not click Protect whatsoever, which was just bad.
It does get itself nice and safe. Chiempo wanting to scout out what's going on.
Wait, no, I did Protect.
To get anything really
If I wake up now, I have decent winning chances. Like, decent. Maybe not decent, but I stay asleep. And at this point, it's pretty rough. Like, what should I say? Since my Dragapult also has 0 sleep turns.
I don't know if it has a good answer to the side of this Amoonguss and the Fluttermane right now.
Things are looking dire. If Dragapult
Yeah, things are indeed looking dire. But, like, I can still win if I knock out the Amoonguss here with a Crunch crit. And then I go for the Sucker Punch shenanigans I just talked about. So if I crit Crunch here, I can win. So that's what I'm going for, I think. Dazzling Gleam, we see that he is faster because he's max speed and my POW is adamant. I click Crunch and I do no KO and I lose the game. That was really embarrassing. Like, this was just bad. Like, what should I say?
Michael throws in the towel, and Shohei Kimura will be your 2023 Pokemon.
This also doesn't really feel like a best of 3, because I got smashed. I got gooped so badly. I got gooped so badly. That's insane. But stuff like that happens.